Google Classroom, it is an application from Google. So anybody can have it as long as you have a Google account. And I'm sure now most of you have your Google accounts. So how do you go on to access this Google Classroom? So I'll just try and show you that, how to access the Google Classroom. So when you have logged in into your email and your account is already on the Chrome, you can easily access the Google Classroom from your computer. So for instance, let me just open a new tab, a new window. Then you can click on this, the dots that are here, that are appearing near your, like your photo, or maybe your email account. So when you click on those the dots there, they'll open for you the different applications on Google. So you can just scroll down to get the Google Classroom. So Classroom is here. You can easily do that, be able to see the Classroom. Just a moment, I think it's lost. So I click on the Classroom, and then it will open for me now the Google Classroom app, whereby I can be able to view, I'll be able to view all the classes that I've created. So for Google Classroom, you're going to create your own classes. So all the classes that you've created will appear here. Now, let's take it that you don't have any classes yet. So you're going to start creating new classes. So how do you do that? There is the plus sign here. So you click on that plus sign. When you click on this plus sign, you'll be able to create a new class. So I can just go on and click on that plus sign. Then it will ask me, do you want to join a class or to create a class? So if it's joining a class, then probably it is for the students. So they're joining your class. But since we are teachers, then we are going to create our own classes. Maybe I'm creating Maths Year 7. So I click on the Create Class. So they'll ask you the different terms and conditions. We agreed with them. So class name, BTC Year 7, Maths, section, that's in the senior. Okay, yeah, let me cancel the Maths here because I see the subject is here. So subject, that is Maths. Room, which is not so much important, but you can just add it. Maths room. Then you create. So it will create your class, and after it has created your class, you will be able to go on and do the other things that are there. So there's the option of inviting students, because that is maybe the first thing that you're going to do, to invite students into your class. So on this home page of your class, you'll see the stream. But near Year 7 here, there is the class code. So you can maximize this. So this is the invitation code that you can copy the link and send to your students. So the students will use this link to join into your class. So after you've maximized that, you can just easily copy the link. So when the link is copied, you can send to them, maybe let's say on WhatsApp, because probably they're not yet on the Google Classroom, so you can't communicate to them on the Google Classroom. So you can send to them on their WhatsApp or maybe on their school emails and so on. But then this is the link that now they are going to use to join into your class. So copy the link, share with them. So the other thing that you can do on this stream page, you can communicate with your class, with your students here. So you can share something with your class. Maybe you want to make a communication about a cut, an upcoming cut, so on. So let's say on Friday next week, shall have our first cut. This is the communication that you want to send to your students. So select here, you'll be able also to select to whom do you want to share it with. So you can select the classes from there. It is year 7, then it's all the students. So click on the all students, then you post it. So the people who are in my class, the students who are in my class will be able to view that communication. So it is easy also to communicate, just like I mentioned earlier on in Class Dojo. So you can communicate with your students here on the stream. Now, the other thing is on the classwork. Because we say that we are going to use these two applications to mostly share assignments, communications, and so on with our students. So the classwork now. So on the classwork, we can create. So click on create when you want to share a task with your students. You have already taught a topic, now you want to share with them a task. So just click on create, then these options will come. So what do you want to share with them? Maybe it's an assignment or it's a quiz. So click on the quiz. Give the quiz a title. It's a maths cut. Instructions which are optional, but you can just mention them. Attempt all the questions. So after having done that, there are two options here. There is the option of adding like a document that you prepared earlier on. Like maybe you have a worksheet or you have an exam that you set. So you want to attach it. So you can attach that exam. So you click on the add. Now, also the other possibility, because Google Classroom is an application of Google, so it is easy to, it is linked with the other Google applications, like the Google Forms. So you can also easily use the Google Forms. So it is directly linked to this. So just click there, and then you can go on to set your work. So it will open this blank quiz. So give your quiz a title. So it was the maths quiz. So we have that. Attempt all the questions. So having done that, now you can start typing your questions here. So question 1, maybe you can say solve the following question. So the question is maybe 2x plus 3y equals to 10. So it's just a random idea, Mr. Duke, Madam Amina, and Mr. William. Don't get on my neck. Maybe it's a wrong equation. But then you have typed in your question. Then give us the answers. Let the students, maybe you are creating a multiple question. So you can give the students the options to choose from. So maybe option 1, it is 7. Option 2, it is 9. Then option 3, you can say maybe it is 4. So choose from here. What type of answers do you want? So is it a multiple? Maybe now for the languages, you can either choose from a short answer, like 1 line, and the paragraph. Maybe you want them to explain a longer thing. You can also give them the multiple choice, the check boxes. Maybe like a question now, like which of the following is not a property of maybe metals? So you can give them now the check boxes. So give a list, and then they'll be able to tick from them. If there are more things, you can also choose the drop down. So the drop down is just like a list, okay? So it will be able to open downwards. All the options will be able to open downwards and so on. So those are the different options. So have the linear scale, the multiple choice grid, and the checkbox grid. So here we're using the multiple choice. So having done that, so from this, solve the following equation. Choose the correct answer. Maybe 9 could be your correct answer. It's an option to choose the correct answer. Then set the next question. Go to the next question. Type also the question and go on. 4 into 3x plus y. Then also give the choices to that. Or maybe you want it just as a short answer, so let them type in the answer there. So they'll just give the solution to the question. So having typed and set all your questions, then you can easily preview it to see how will your questions appear on the side of the students. So you can click on the preview. Then you'll be able to see how does the quiz appear on the side of the students. So they'll be able to choose also. So if the 7 was the correct answer, they'll choose 7. And then here, I can now type my answer is 12x plus 4y. And the students now will click on submit. It will come back to you as the teacher. So when you come to the maths quiz, you'll be able to see the responses as from the students. Then you can easily mark and submit back the feedback. You can give the feedback to the students later on. So that's about setting questions and maybe submitting a task to the students. So remember, on the Google Classroom, we open this as a quiz. So you have to send it, click on send to share it with the students. So you can copy the link. We come back to this classwork here. Just click on assign, because we already have the quiz. This is the quiz that we have been working on. So we are already done with it. So we click on assign. So it will be assigned to our class. So we are having the maths cut here. It's the maths cut, the quiz that we have been working on. So if the student is not in your class and you want to share maybe externally, then that's when you can copy the link and share with them. But since now the Google form is directly linked with the Google Classroom, it's easy. Just type, click on the create, pick whatever you want to create, like a quiz assignment. Then you'll use the Google Forms, and after you're done setting them, you click on assign, and the students will be able to view your work and do it. Any questions so far before we proceed? Okay, now that's on the classwork. Remember, I've also mentioned about the stream, whereby you can communicate with your students what you want to share with them. Maybe it's just a reminder about a task that you shared and they have not submitted. You can also post it here. Let me try refreshing this to see. Okay, yeah. So when you post work on the stream of the class that you have created, it will also be posted there. It will appear there. So like the maths cut is already appearing here. So the students will also be able to see that, okay, the teacher has assigned work. And now on the student side, on this upcoming, they'll be able to view all the pending work. So they can see the pending work, but because now you are operating the account as a teacher, you can't see any, like maybe probably they have done the work, you can view the work here. But also from the students, they can see their pending work. So classwork here, I've mentioned that. On the people, it will be the list, or maybe the list of the students that are there in your class. So you can easily add students in your class by inviting them. So either you can invite them using the link. So you copy the link, this link here, and send to them, or you can now type their emails and then send them the invites. So that's how you can add students to your class. Remember, I mentioned that with the Google Classroom, you're going to create your own classes and you're going to add your own students. That doesn't mean that the Class Dojo will be like put aside, no. So for the Class Dojo, it's more of a school platform whereby we're going to have the list of all the students, the list of all the teachers. So it will be mostly managed by the school administration. But for this Google Classroom, you'll create your own classes and add your own students. So the students, maybe the emails will be given to you. If not, you'll use the link to invite them. What else can you view on the Google Classroom? You can view the grades. So after the student have done the work, you can also see how they are performing and so on. So it is easy also to follow up their performance. I think that is majorly the main things that we are talking about on Google Classroom. But remember also, when the students have shared with you their work, it might take us back to the PDF Exchange editor to mark the work and send them the feedback. But now, since you are incorporating the Google Forms, you can use it and maybe mark it online directly like that. So it's a bit easier, maybe using the Google Forms, because you can pre-mark and preset the quiz and the correct answers so that when they submit, it marks automatically and records the marks. Any issue maybe that you might need clarification on Google Classroom? So let me just try and show you maybe something else in the class that already has some people. So here you can see this is from the stream. All the communication that I made with the students, you can be able to see it. The students can also comment on your posts and so on. You can also view the classwork that has been submitted. So this is the classwork that have been set already. So all the tasks that you have set, they'll appear here. You can view the students in your class, as I have mentioned also. So these are all the students that are there in the class. And then you can view the grades. So this is how it will appear. So anytime you create a task, then this will be created automatically. So you're not going to create this. Like Google creates this automatically. And maybe you can, later on, you can import it. I think there's that possibility of importing. So that is it about Google Classroom. Any question? And now, something else. Let me just, okay, Mr. Duke, before I go on, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for such a wonderful presentation. Now, just before you carry on,
yeah,
on the section of grades,
yes.
Are you supposed to define a specific way in which the percentages are going to be calculated? Because like now, you could be, maybe I've given students a list of 10 questions to do.
Yeah.
I want the assignment maybe to be marked out of 10. Does
Yes.
the system, do I need to define how the conversions have to be done, whether it is out of 10 or even a percentage or even a specific way, if I may ask?
Okay, from this, I'm sure you can be able to see this. This was marked out of 100. Now, when you are setting your, let me take you back to the classwork, and we try doing that. We create a new one, an assignment. So I'll just mention something briefly here. So we create the title here is maybe English. Now, here, I can also add a paper that I had set earlier on. I can attach it here by clicking on the add. So I can upload a file. That file could be an exam that I had already, like I set the exam on my computer, and then I upload it here for the students. I hope that is also clear. So you can upload a preset exam for the students. Now, if you are not uploading anything, then we go on to create. So what are we creating? We are creating this, we're using these forms. So when you click on the forms, it will automatically open a new window, and you can go on to do that. So untitled form, this was English. Now, what are we doing here? So the question is, write a short description about yourself. Okay, so write a short description of yourself. Now here, the system, or maybe this Google Forms, it also detects it dictates your question, and it will guide you on what kind of answer you're going to receive. So this is, it tells you that, okay, it needs to be a paragraph. So it's going to be a long text answer. Now, let's assume that's the only question that we are giving the students. So here, we can come to the send, not send, okay, first before there. On the settings here, we can change it into quizzes. Make this a quiz, like that. Then we can save it. So on the answer key, you can see here now it changes into how many points are you going to give for this. So you can change. So probably you want to give this as 10 points. Click on done. So the total is 10. Then you can click on send, but I'm sure if I go back to my class, I can assign it here. And now, the points, remember I've given 10 points, so you can also change it here. Okay, here the system, I think it calculates the percentage. Mr. Duke, I think we can agree on that. It's about, okay, you can set the marks. How many marks is your task out of? So if it's out of 50, then let's be out of 50. If it's out of 100, then the system will calculate automatically. You can also give, you can also set the due date. When do you want to receive the work back? So set the date. Maybe it's on 27th. Yeah. Choose, it's the whole class. And now, if we were to use this Google Classroom maybe for exam situations, you can set the work early, but then you don't assign it. So you can click here and you schedule it. So by scheduling, when do you want it to appear? You want it to appear to the students on 24th August 2020 at 8 a.m. You schedule that. So on 24th August 2020, that work is going to appear to the students. Mr. Duke, I think I tried to answer your question.
I'm glad you have responded and move on.
Okay, so that was the thing. You can easily view that. And on the grades,
Okay, one more question, sir.
Yes. Go on, Mr. Duke.
So what you have elaborated so well on assignments put on the Google Form platform.
Yeah.
But in a case where, for example, I have a PDF preset assignment
Yes.
that I want to send to the learners as a task to do,
Okay.
they do it and then submit their responses maybe as a picture through WhatsApp or through another mechanism. I mark.
Mm-hmm.
So now the process of getting these grades into the system, is it going to be manual? Because what I'm seeing here, I'm imagining that all these grades on what you shared with us, what's on your screen currently, are grades arising from the Google Forms.
Yes. Or maybe the work that has been submitted directly on the Google Classroom.
Yes. Now, what about this assignment done on PDF, documents done, sent to students, done, and then pictures submitted back? I have the marks with me, and I want the same marks to appear in this platform. How is that going to be done?
You see, okay, what happens, Mr. Duke, is after you've created the task, it will appear on this Google Classroom platform. It will automatically appear here. Now, if that student didn't submit the work back through the Google Classroom, at the end, when the due date reaches, it will automatically indicate there as missing. But now, this student is not, the marks is not missing. You have the marks, but then the work was submitted maybe via WhatsApp or maybe via your email. So you can easily change here. You can just type in the marks and it will save. Because it creates the platform where you have to save the marks for the students, where you're going to key in the grades and the marks. So even
I think that's clear now. That is to say,
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's like saying if the assignment is done on Google Forms, the marks will automatically be fed into the mark sheet list.
Yes.
Indio.
Yes, as long as it came through the Google Classroom and so on. Yeah.
Good. And if it is by another means, then the teacher must take the responsibility of recording the marks in the correct shells as provided in this mark list.
Yeah, you have to record manually, maybe, if I can say it. Any other question, probably? Now, one more thing maybe that I need to mention is that I'm sure the Google Classroom, they have, I think, I've updated their platform, and there is a possibility for you to directly open a meeting with the students. Although I think we'll be using the Zoom for our meetings, but if you have to use the Google Meet, because Google Meet is also another platform like Zoom. So you have to use the Google Meet. You can generate the link directly when you open the class on your, using your email. So you have created the class, you can easily generate the link to your meeting and you join directly. But that is if you're going to use Google Meet to teach. So it is incorporated in the Google Classroom. But I'm sure maybe Mr. Ignatius will clarify later on, but I think we'll be using Zoom most of the time because Zoom has more options to control the students in your class, like muting them, and so on. Because on the Google Meet, it's a bit tricky to mute the students. They can easily unmute themselves and cause chaos for you. Another thing that I'll mention is something called quizzes. Now, quizzes is a way whereby you can, it's an app where you can use to also share like tasks or maybe worksheets or quizzes with the students. So you just have to go to your Chrome, type there quizzes, then it will open for you page here. You know, it's stuck. Okay. So this is quizzes. Now you can easily search worksheets or maybe like games, maybe just when you want to break the boredom like that in the class, you can easily also use quizzes to do that. So create games for your students to play with them, but they'll still be learning. So there is the option for join a game. You can log in, you can sign up. So you will do this. Let me just try and see if I can log into my account. I can log in with Google. Okay. So when you log in into quizzes, you can search for quizzes that have been preset already, and you can also set your own quizzes to play with the kids or maybe just to assign them. So here, I can easily type maybe like algebra. Then I find the quizzes about algebra. So here we have this algebra, and they also guide you on the grade. Even when you'll be setting your own quizzes, they'll guide you, or they require that you put a grade for that. Are you setting the quiz for maybe year 7, year 8, so that they also share your quizzes with other people? So like here, you can easily find the grade, the respective grade for the one that you want to share. Maybe now here I want to share with the year 8. So this algebra, I click on that. Now, when I open that algebra for the 8th grade, there is the option for playing live. So you have joined the class, you can play live, and you can assign it as a homework. Let's try the option of playing it live. So it's not assigned to any class. Now I can easily choose my class that I want to play with. So maybe I want to play it with the year 7. Then you click on next. So this quiz will be assigned to one class, that is the year 7. Now, if I go to the year 7, Okay, it's not on this platform. Sorry, I think it's on the other email. But you can easily choose the class that you want to assign this quiz to, and the students will be able to play it. Now, the other way is to assign it as a homework. So let me just go back. So you can opt for assign it as a homework. Click on that. It will again ask you the different questions here. So learners should complete the quiz by. So you easily choose when do you want it to be completed. Maybe I want it to be completed today, August 21st. At what time? Choose the time. Maybe by 3:30. Then assign to class. Here's some other setting that you need to know. How many times can students take this quiz? It's only once. Show answers in game, put it off. Show answers post game, and so on. So those are just different options that you can set. Now, assign to class. You can choose the class that you want to assign to. So select the class that you want to send this quiz to. Select it here, so on. Then you click on continue. So having done that, the students will be able to get the quiz on their Google Classroom platform. Any question about these quizzes? Maybe before that, I can just mention this. You can create your own quiz by clicking on create. So name of the quiz, then you'll choose the subject and so on. So you can just easily follow the prompts there and you create your own quiz. And you can share with the students. So this it's just a fun way of learning and teaching. Not every day, probably you are going to go to class and teach. You can easily also assign them a task, a card through these quizzes. Anything, any clarification that you might need about quizzes? Amina, you are saying something?
No.
So, to wind up, the last thing that I'm going to mention to you is about the system maybe that the school is going to be offering. Remember, we are opting for the Edxl, but since we are also expecting students from year 10 and year 11, there could be students who have been doing Cambridge. So we can't lock them out. So we'll try and incorporate all of them. So I want to share with you this platform, the Pearson, where you can get the Edxl materials. So you can easily, it is free of charge. You don't have to register. You don't have to do anything. It's not payable. So you can easily get materials that you are going to use from schemes, past exams, trainings about different subjects and so on. So I'll share with you the link in the group, how you can access the Pearson homepage. And then you'll be able to, like, you can access the different materials and also familiarize yourself with the Edxl. Just a moment, I share with you that. Okay. So I'll share the link with you, but when you come to the homepage of Edxl, you can find here the different levels from primary to the A levels. So for example, if I'm choosing like the primary, mostly primary is maths, English, and science. So those are the material that are easily found there. So like primary, you can easily choose this primary English, and you'll be able to see like the past exam materials, the schemes of work, so on. Okay, so here you have the exam materials, have specification and sample assessments, and so on. And also, you can also easily get the schemes of work, and you can easily use it to go on and prepare your lessons. You'll familiarize yourself, you'll be familiar with how Edxl also runs. But all the materials, you can easily find them on the link that I'm going to send you. You will directly access the homepage of the Edxl, the Pearson page for qualifications, and you can see the different material that you can use to teach in your classes. Any question, probably, any clarification that you might need? Because I think I've mentioned most of the things that I wanted to mention, in addition to whatever we looked at in the morning. Any question, any clarification that you might need about the Google Classroom, about maybe ClassDojo, something you missed in the morning? Okay, so I guess Mr. Ignatius, probably you can wind up the session.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. You've done an awesome job actually since 11, taking us through ClassDojo and Google Classroom. This is not going just to be a one-off session. I know we might have questions arising from teachers. And so mine is to encourage the entire team to have an open mind so that when you get stuck, it's important to raise up the issue for you to be helped. What you just touched on towards the end of the presentation was how to use a Pearson Edxl, how to visit the Pearson Edxl website. It's a very straightforward website. Basically, this is where we're going to get our teaching resources, mostly teaching resources from year 1 to year 9. For year 1 to year 9, it's just going to be purely Edxl. Year 10, 11, 12, and 13, we're going to have both, depending on how many people are coming in. If a student is enrolling in Cambridge, year 10, 11, year 12, and 13, we're not going to force them to take Edxl. So we'll have Pearson, Edxl, and we're going to have Cambridge as well for year 10, 11, 12, and 13. And so while we have Cambridge, we'll be able to provide you with the resources, Cambridge resources. While we have Edxl, we're going to provide you with the Edxl resources so that you may be in a position actually to meet the needs of your students. You realize that, Mr. Patrick, maybe if you may just go back to Pearson.
Okay.
Just go back to Pearson so that we go to subject by subject. Everything is so detailed for you, as you're going to see. Mr. Patrick project from the other side. Assuming you're teaching year 10, let me say a subject like English, and this is Pearson Edxl, and year 10 English. So we'll go to qualifications to IGCSE, International IGCSE and Edxl certificate. Mr. Patrick is going to click on it. That's the reason I'm doing this. And then you'll go to English, which is E. Now, under that, you realize you're going to come the different specifications that are rising under English. We have English as a second language. We have English language specification A. We have English language spec B. Literature is also a different spec. So what we're going to offer will be offering English language spec B, because spec B is very friendly. So it's important for your subject that you know which spec you're offering. If it's bio, which spec are we offering? If it's French, which spec are we looking at? So for our case, assuming we're supposed to be teaching spec B, but you didn't consult and ended up teaching language spec A, then you realize that we'll have a problem there. You might end up wasting some time before you actually realize what we need to be realizing. So I want right now, as you try and go through this spec, looking at different subjects, it's important that you identify, it's important that you get this information from me, which spec actually you're going to teach, so that you don't find yourself teaching the wrong spec. But they are very direct. So where do we get these specifications? Mr. Patrick, just go to the spec, click on language B, for instance. So when you look at language B spec is totally different from language A spec. What's the difference? You find that language A spec is full of stories, where you teach language through stories. You have anthology stories. But when you come to language B, this is where you do not have a set of anthology stories, but rather is much of writing. So when you have students who are very weak, in writing, then you cannot recommend spec B, because spec B needs a good command of writing skill. So for now, I just want you to familiarize yourself with this Edxl website, look at the various subjects. And then our next training now will be narrowing in on which spec are we doing per subject. Is there any question up to that? Apart from that, we also have We also have schemes of work. Mr. Patrick, maybe we can just access the schemes of work somewhere for this language B. So you see, already you have the specification, the whole syllabus, what you need to cover in that particular spec. So that specification you're downloading over there covers year 10 and year 11, if it's O level, year 10 and year 11. And then now, when you come to the schemes of work, it breaks down this spec, how you're going to split the whole syllabus in 2 years, in year 10 and year 11. Having these two is going to make your work easy now to come up with your own lesson notes. You'll be able to have your own lesson notes based on the specification and the scheme of work. Now, when you look at what Mr. Patrick is just showing here, there's a lot of resource materials for the teacher. You have your course planner, you have exemplar materials, the lesson plan is there, you have past training content, you have your schemes of work, basically everything that you need. And then you have a sample paper that looks exactly like the paper you're preparing your students to sit. So this page should be of great help to you. Just visit the page, click on everything, and get to internalize what is there for you. So that by the time you come face to face with your students, you know what kind of resources they need from you, what kind of questions they're likely to meet ahead of them, and the challenges that students have been facing, which will arise from exemplar materials. Otherwise, thank you so much for creating time to be with us for these 2 sessions that we had today. This is just the beginning. We're going to have very many sessions until we're finally comfortable to meet the needs of our students. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick.
Okay, so I guess maybe we can end the session, not unless if there is anybody who might an issue, a query, maybe a contribution to make anywhere about the training that we have had today. Maybe there's a point you didn't get so well about Class Dojo, maybe about the Google Classroom, and so on. I've just shared with you the link that you can just click on the link directly. It will take you to this home page of the Pearson, and you can start looking through. Just familiarize yourself. Some things we learn them by doing. So just play around the Pearson page and see, especially maneuver around your subject areas to see the different resources that are there. So from my side, I think I have nothing more to add, not unless if there is a question from anyone. So I'll also share this recording with you. You can revisit it later on to watch and see maybe there's a point you missed and easily access the recording. So if there is no other business, then let me wish you a great evening, and try to, if you are able to access the school email, try to do the registration and accept the invitation to the school they have sent from Class Dojo. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.